I'm doing these on PowerPoint. So today, we'll be doing some Orioles trade ideas, as would be indicated by the slide here. We got Luzardo on the top left, Devin Williams bottom left, Logan Gilbert top right, Nick Castellanos bottom right. There's a lot of text here, just some thoughts. The ones I want to go over are, for the most part, Crochet's been talked about. Fetty, I just included McDermott as the example here because I think in terms of club control, that's like a good, McDermott's still a rookie at this point, so that's like a good 6 years. Whether he becomes good or not, you could probably get Fetty for that. Luzardo, the idea there was a prospect kind of far off, that would be Wagner. Someone to take Luzardo's spot in the rotation, that's Povich, and Urias, who could play third. Similarly, Montgomery, that would be, I'm not sure exactly what they would want, but if you take on the contract for a year, you could probably just give up a random pitching prospect like Patrick Riley. The Seattle one, I'm not sure here because Castillo, you have the same issue as Montgomery, except it's a long-term contract. It's 3 more years. I think there's an option for a 4th. So, in theory, that combo of Mountcastle plus one of those guys probably would be enough, I think, because it would give them so much more flexibility. You'd already have Mountcastle, you'd have an extra pitching prospect, and you get rid of Castillo's contract. You keep Gilbert, you keep Kirby, you keep Miller, you keep Wu. You still have Emerson Hancock, you still have whichever one of those guys is there, you still have whoever else is in the system. The other one, the Westberg and Beavers one, I don't know if that's even completely necessary. I almost wonder if, because this idea was actually on a Mariners podcast, but then I saw something else about Alec Boehm going over there. When I looked at the numbers, I saw Alec, and this would be for a 1-for-1 type of deal, for Boehm for Gilbert. To me, Mountcastle isn't much worse than Boehm, as in literally war-wise, it's 2.6 versus 3 on Baseball Reference. I'm not sure about Fangraph, I'd have to check that one. And with Mayo, so the options would be Westberg, Mayo, Mountcastle, because they need a hitter. I would personally not include Westberg because I think that's silly, even if it is getting Gilbert. Maybe if it was straight up Westberg for Gilbert, I would consider it. Although Westberg would have more control. That might make some sense. Mayo plus maybe Povich? Is that an overpay? Because I think Mayo and Povich was the actual thought, but what if you could do Mountcastle and Povich? You give him a pitcher that can slot in. You give him a player that'll fit in the lineup. You keep Mayo, who can play both positions and is younger. The question becomes do we buy the current production or are we taking potential? And what would they want? Next slide, since I don't really feel like talking about Pittsburgh, this is just a practice. Bullpen, mentioned a little bit of this. The point here is Coulombe's gone. Bautista's coming back from injury. You don't really have a closer. I think this is a bit of a luxury and it could help as long as you're not giving up too much, which may affect other trades. Like I said there, I wouldn't give up any of Basayo, Bradfield, Mayo. Probably wouldn't even include Honeycutt. But something like Fabian and Bright for Williams, that might be enough because they'd get an outfielder and a pitcher. And then Nunez and Young, that's 2 pitchers for Helsley. because they want pitching. Next set. This one's a little out there. Again, I'm not sure the market on any of these guys. I think a lot of it comes down to contracts, because 2 of them have injury issues and 1 of them is getting older and has 2 years left, but it's a high AAV, like I put on the slide. So going from top to bottom, this might be a bit of an overpay, but Honeycutt could more or less replace Buxton long term. Obviously not right now, but potential wise, he could get there. O'Hearn, they need a first baseman. They had Carlos Santana, but he'll probably leave. And then he's only there for a year anyway, and they take back Vasquez and his contract. So basically, they'd be getting rid of 15 plus 10 for this year, and then 15 for the next 3 after that. Which 15 for Buxton, if he's healthy, is nothing. If he's not, then that's a lot, and that's not the best it looks. You still have Mullins, you still have Bradfield though, and that's kind of where I was banking on. So even if Mullins only stays 1 year, you still have Bradfield to come in for him, and you could have Buxton in left or right with also Kowser. So that's a pretty solid lineup still in the outfield. Castellanos, you have a bit less. I don't know if that's an overpay actually, but I did suggest the overpay with Beavers more or less replacing him in the outfield. Maybe not initially, but longer term, because you'd have all the control. And then Willems, but then you'd have them eat some of the contract. So if you don't do that, then maybe you do like a lesser pitching prospect or a lesser outfield prospect. Someone like O'Hearn and Willems, rather, and then take the whole contract. With Robert, again, I'm not sure about this return package. Apparently they just want position players, so I didn't put any pitchers. I said Fabian, that again, he could step in for 2025. He's more or less ready. Anderson, he's coming along. Overton's coming along. They're both in high A right now, probably be in double A at some point in 2025. So could they get more for Robert? I don't know. It's possible. His contract's probably more club friendly than Buxton's when you consider the injury concerns. So from that perspective, I did put 3 guys, 2 of them being outfielders, 1 right-handed, 1 left-handed, and then you got an infielder / catcher. I think that's sound. What else have we got? And then going back a little, there's some bonus. This actually isn't that long of a video. We got some talk of contracts, as is pretty much self-explanatory. My opinion here is depending on, actually no, there's no depending. For the top part, there's no depending for me. I think you need to extend Mullins for a year. O'Hearn can go after 2025. See how Dominguez and Eflin do, Dominguez and Soto do, and then decide if you're going to bring them back or not. Eflin, I'd say extend. Mateo, see how he comes back from the injury. As I said, Mullins, you extend for sure for at least a year. If you had to do 2, then you could probably get by with that and just bring Bradfield along slowly and maybe phase him out in the second year. But I'm pretty sure you're going to need him for at least 1 more season after 25. So I don't think Bradfield's going to be 100% ready yet. If he is, then hey, just let him go. That's fine. In terms of others, I put those 3, as well as if they were to get Crochet or Luzardo. Obviously, with 2 years left, that would be more like Rutschman and the new guy. Westberg, I think, has almost all of his. He probably has like 4 or 5 more years of control, and Henderson's maybe a year less. So let's just say it's 5 and then 4. With Adley, it's more like 2, and then you got to deal with signing him, if I'm right there. Again, the idea is if you're not going to go big on free agents, I think you need to start addressing these issues. Get the guys whose contracts end quicker dealt with. Eflin and Mullins, I would say, out of those. Maybe Mateo if you feel like it. Wait till, say, O'Farrell, Ben Cosme, someone like that's ready. Mayo, Holiday are more established. Dominguez and Soto, What do I think about that? Like I said, I don't trust either one of them personally. I would give them at least half a season and then maybe do an extension, or just let their contracts end. They aren't getting a qualifying offer, so it is what it is. Their relievers are easy to. So, like I said, ideally for me, I don't necessarily see Henderson wanting to extend yet. I don't think his agent would do that. I think Rutschman maybe, let's say halfway through the year, or if you can give him a good offer before the season. And if neither one of the first two wants it, then Westberg, just to have someone under contract longer, because he seems like the most stable of all the guys. Even more so than maybe in Rutschman, really. And then, yeah, if you get Crochet or Luzardo, you're going to need to fix that contract situation so that you're not getting around the 26 and it's like, uh-oh, we got to deal with this again.